as we move to some questions, maybe I start with one. Steve, you mentioned that offline measurements is beyond the reach of most of the advertisers in the industry. Can you share some more examples? And I'm asking also, by the way, because coming from the FMCG industry, this is probably one of the most relevant topics when it comes to attribution, right?
Sure. I think, is this working okay? I think certain industries, you can definitely connect the dots between the online engagement and the offline sales. Retailers, like retailers that have their own brands and have their own stores, it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of ways to connect basically an online user and an ID to a purchaser and get transaction data back in an anonymized way. That makes sense. Automotive, they're getting better at connecting the dots there as well between engagement and actually purchase of those ways. I think it's harder when there's organizational silos where it's just tough. For example, the example I was talking about earlier was a retailer. They were basically told, stay in your sandbox. You're online. You're graded based on performance of online. So that was an organizational issue. I think that's always a challenge. It's also hard if you're we call it CPGs, the fast-moving consumer goods. I was taught yesterday that it's hard to know, did someone pick up that bottle of shampoo in the aisle because of they were engaged with your ad. It's really tough to do that. So I think there's some that are doable. It just takes alignment within the organization and a bit of an investment and the right partners to bring that to light. And others, it's just really tough, and you're kind of relegated back to media mix models.
Yeah. Any direct experience from your side, Simon, on integrating offline in attribution modeling?
Yeah, it's a really difficult issue, and usually we use something like marketing mix modeling or something, but lately, for the past few months, we've been testing if you would see that the impact of an advertisement worked different during a TV campaign. So you would have an estimate of your GRP, so let's say you have 5 GRPs, so you expect more or less 5% of your people online could have been reached, and you would see if the probabilities of, like we explained in the Markov state, would be higher during a TV campaign. So it's maybe a little bit of a long shot, but we do see some significant difference. So some channels, they do work well during a TV campaign, and others, they're performing the same. So, but then in the end, it's going to be very difficult to find your new budget allocation, because then you would have some different probabilities, but how would you in the end plan on this? And in the end, you have to make a media strategy and buy your GRPs and divide your budget allocations. So it is, I would say, a really complex issue, but yeah, there is, of course, there is an impact.
Thank you. Any question from the audience? So maybe, Steve, can you just tell us more about, we talked about mobile. So what would you say are the top 3 requirements to make sure that we drive accuracy in mobile center?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely headed to a mobile-first world where it's starting to lead. It's now the tip of a lot of plans, and yet the ability to get data from mobile devices is still very limited because of cookie rejection and blocking by most mobile devices, especially in the States. So I think the key thing is really to getting good mobile conversion data. One is you need a cookieless ad server. You need to be able to get a history of impressions at a mobile device, not be limited just to the click, because if you're using cookie-based ad serving for mobile, that's pretty much what you're getting, except for Android on Chrome, or Chrome on Android, you're based on clicks. So one is using some type of device recognition from an ad serving standpoint. Secondly, I think is then, that by itself could be great, because then you can actually see true mobile conversion paths for each device. But then obviously connecting the devices through device partners, device bridging partners, that you can basically license the graph data and match up your ID with their anonymous ID and join the users. That's the next, I think the next big one. So we can really truly have true history of mobile engagement, connecting the devices, desktop, mobile, tablet, et cetera, all in one clean data set that's unified at the user level. And that exists today. It's just still fairly, it's still, I'd say, been beyond the reach and capabilities of most organizations to put that together. I think we'll see more of that this year.
Thank you very much. Thank you.